We speak, there is another attempt in the parliament to actually constitute it. I think it's unfortunate that the people still don't have the parliament for which they have voted. And the will of the people that stems from the elections has not been materialized yet. As you rightly pointed out at the beginning of the interview, Kosovo has the strongest electoral democracy in our region. And we've always had, smooth transitions of powers, very, very strong democracy, both during the elections as well as after the elections. Right now, the turmoil, well, I wouldn't call it turmoil, it's kind of an impasse rather than a turmoil. So it's like nothing is happening rather than something is happening. So the point is, right now, there's a lack of a political agreement between political parties to form a coalition majority. Because the political parties don't want to work with one another. There's the lack of trust and quite a big polarization, I would say, which is unfortunate because Kosovo is losing out a lot. The more time we spend without a parliament and without a government that is voted by the new parliament, the more we are losing out European Union projects, the more we are losing out a window of opportunity that we have now with the new U.S. administration that I've been working with in my meetings there. So, I mean, as president of the country, as head of state and head of foreign policy, I do a lot, but most of these agreements that I reach, they will have to end up in the parliament either for ratification or to the government for implementation. So we will need, the people of Kosovo will need to have an effective government with full powers and an effective parliament that can oversee the work of the government, because, as I said, we're a strong democracy with 3 layers of governance, and this has worked really well so far. I do hope, and of course I take the opportunity once again to call on all political parties to put the country's interests first and leave their differences aside and try to form a coalition and a parliamentary majority that will take Kosovo forward, because the world is not going to wait for us. Obviously, windows of opportunities open up just a little bit for countries like us, and also for a very short time.
To put the foot in the door.
So catching the momentum is key, because, as you know, the world is in a turmoil, and we can't pretend that we are a priority on anyone's table. I would say, in terms of our alignment, in terms of our spirit, European spirit, in terms of our political will, and the will of our people to join the European, we are 97% in terms of proximity, or even 100%, because we are a country that fully aligns with the European Union. We are at a 100% alignment. 97% of the people of Kosovo are pro-European, pro-joining the European Union and NATO. In terms of reforms, whether it's rule of law reforms, economic reforms, fundamental rights, human rights reforms, we are the country in the Western Balkans that is doing best. So when it comes to values, we are quite close. But when it comes to politics, procedures, and hurdles, we are still quite far away, because, as you know, there are still 5 countries within the European Union that have not recognized Kosovo, and that is one hurdle. But then there's this other hurdle where, despite Kosovo being fully in alignment, and despite Kosovo being a country that truly sees the European Union as a values-based system, unfortunately, this doesn't seem to catch the eye of so many member states, and it looks like those of us that, have aligned with the EU, whether on sanctions against Russia or sanctions against Iran or other, things that really take you out of your comfort zone, but you stand with what is right, these have not been important for the European Union. I think what happens in Serbia right now will affect the wider region, I wouldn't say Kosovo particularly, but the wider region, because the same way that what happens in Russia will affect the wider region and will affect the entire European continent. When you have a country in your proximity that is led by an autocrat that does not believe in the value of human rights, in the value of rule of law, in the value of civil society and freedom of speech, obviously that has a negative effect everywhere, because the Vučić regime has been using the propaganda machine as their main instrument for decades. Perhaps just to remind your viewers that when Milosevic was waging wars in Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Kosovo, and so on, he had picked one person to be his propaganda minister, and that was Vučić. From all of former Yugoslavia, he had picked one guy to be the propaganda minister during the war And that was Aleksandar Vučić, the guy who's the president today. So that's what he does best, propaganda. Unfortunately, he has used it in a way to kind of convince many in the West that, he's kind of sitting in two chairs and he's trying, to be in between Russia and the West and so on. But he's not in between. He's sitting on only one chair, and that is Russia's chair. The other one is pure acting based on his experience from being propaganda minister of Milosevic. So propaganda is what he uses now also against his own people. We understand that the students and the others are protesting for rule of law. They're protesting against corruption. And I think that is an extremely important value of every society, to ask for more rule of law, to ask or to protest against corruption, and to ask for more human rights and freedoms. One day when Serbia is led by people who truly believe in these values, the values of human rights, fundamental rights, as well as rule of law, that will also mean better relations with neighbors. Vučić has always been doing the opposite. Every single time that he's in trouble within the country, he tries to cause problems within Bosnia-Herzegovina. Yes, the usual tactic. He tries to cause problems within Bosnia-Herzegovina, within Kosovo, and the rest of the region, so that he uses his nationalistic card and, look what I'm doing, I'm saving the people, and, the usual propaganda. And in this sense, I don't think he will focus more on protesters, quite the opposite. He will try to shift the focus elsewhere. He's done that before, but of course we're ready to defend our country, and we're ready to thwart any kind of aggression that he might have in mind.